Isaac was told by God not to leave his country like many others because of the persistent famine, and he obeyed. The result for him was that he became very wealthy, planting and harvesting at a time of famine. Why was he so convinced about God being the one telling him not to leave in the first place? Let's analyze the situation more clearly. Here was a farmer living in an area ravaged by famine. The most realistic thing to do is to migrate elsewhere in search of an area of land that is fertile, not forgetting that this era does not have much technological growth that could help easing the situation. However, he heard God talk and he obeyed. First and foremost, he had a relationship with God for him to be able to identify his voice at such a time. Whenever it is recorded that God spoke or is speaking, we shouldn't think it was a direct communication, as in God standing and talking audibly. Maybe at some times, but most times it was more of thoughts and intuitions in our minds, just like he speaks today. Isaac therefore must have trained himself to differentiate thoughts and intuitions of God from others. This is very important because so many things speak to us at this day and age. Identified thoughts and instructions from God may not be that straightforward because there are millions of others we receive from sources like friends, cultural system, happenings, be it good or bad, media, social media, parents, and so on. All of them competing for attention. That's why prioritizing a relationship with God is important, as He trains in identifying His suggestions out of the millions of suggestions in our minds. The more conformed we are to our surroundings, the less of God's instruction we can receive, vice versa. Bible clearly specifies that we should constantly renew our minds with His words, meaning that we should constantly weed out every of those unprofitable thoughts that are choking the effective growth of God's instruction in our lives. Another important fact about Isaac is his flexibility. He was able to do what wasn't normal. He defied the odds by refusing to migrate, even if that was what everyone was doing. He didn't mix up the instruction, thinking that another spirit that doesn't want him to progress is telling him not to migrate, even if that was the ideal thing in this present situation. Every child of God must be flexible. One reason Christians could miss out sometimes on God's promises is being straitjacketed, expecting it to happen in a particular way or style. God can't be boxed into a corner. He can change His method at any time. So it is important we embrace His flexibility by having growth mindset. It is very easy to ignore God's instructions, especially when it is not what we are used to. Another fact was his resilience at the things he believed. The fact that he obeyed God didn't immediately translate into success. He had to endure some harsh realities. He dug wells that were taken from him. Digging well in a desert is an arduous task that will take lots of effort with quality time. He did it twice but was seized by the people around. At his third attempt, they did not bother. We shouldn't think because God said it means it was going to be fast or easy. It simply means it is certain to happen. But how will it happen? We have to walk with Him step by step as things unfold till we get there. I believe we have done a thorough check on the life of Isaac, how he made it, and we have learned something vital. Life is altogether complex if God is out of the equation. But having God in is simply a factor we can leverage on, knowing that it is going to happen no matter how tough it gets. Thank you very much.